Okay, this is another MCA lesson for 7th grade, and today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing integers. Last week we were dealing with integers with adding and subtracting, and today we're going to learn the multiplying and dividing integers, and then in a couple days we'll put all that together and we will combine order of operations with integers and those operations. So it's important to get down all these rules. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. We just got to get the final pieces here with multiplying and dividing. So remember that integers are all the counting numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to infinity. And then all of their opposites. So zeros in there, and then -1, -2, -3, down to negative infinity. Okay, so when we can develop the rules for multiplying and dividing signed numbers if we remember that multiplication is a shorthand notation for repeated addition. So 2 times -3 actually means -3 plus -3. Just like 2 times 4 basically says we've got 2 4s that we're adding together. 4 plus 4, and that's where we get 8. So 2 times -3 is basically adding 2 -3's together. So -3 plus -3 is -3 plus another -3 gets us to -6. Alright, and then using this fact, 2 times -3 gives us -6, we can come up with some other observations. So for instance, since this shows us that 2 times -3 is -6, it also shows us that if -6 is divided into 2 equal parts, each part is -3. So if we take -6 and split it up into 2 parts, it's -3 and -3. So here's our next fact. -6 divided by 2 is -3. We also see that the number of -3's and -6 is 2. So we have 2 -3's and -6. So that means -6 divided by -3 should be a +2. And those relationships are shown. Okay. So notice that multiplying or dividing 2 numbers whose signs are different result in a negative number. But if we multiply 2 negative numbers, such as -2 and -3, we can read that as -2 times -3 as the opposite of 2 times -3. Since 2 times -3 equals -6, then the opposite of that equals the opposite of -6, which is 6. Okay. So we get back to the opposite terminology. But what we really just want to notice is that if you multiply 2 numbers that have the same sign, for instance, a negative times a negative, you'll get a positive. It's just the same thing as if we were to do +2 times 3. 2 positives comes out +2. This is also 6. We've been doing that since probably 1st or 2nd grade. Alright? And since division undoes multiplication, these division problems must also be true. So 6 divided by -2 is -3. 6 divided by -3 is -2. Alright, so basically we just want to remember these rules for multiplying and dividing. If the 2 numbers in the multiplication or division have the same sign, the answer is positive. If the 2 numbers in the multiplication or division have different signs, the answer is a negative. So here are some examples. Notice, positive times a positive, same sign, gives you a positive. A negative times a negative, same sign, gives you a positive. Different signs, negative and a positive, give you a negative. And different signs here also give you a negative. And that's the same for division. Positive divided by a positive gives you a positive. Negative divided by a negative gives you a positive. So same sign, negative, negative, positive, positive, you get a positive. Different sign, you end up getting a negative. Okay, when we divide. So those are those relationships. Might be a good page to keep in mind and look at in your book. Alright, so we'll go through these examples and we'll call that good for today. So here we have a, -12 divided by -4, same sign, negative, negative, we divide, we should get a positive. So this will be 12 divided by 4 is 3, +3. Negative 2.4 divided by 4. Here this is a fraction, we can represent this as a decimal. So 2.4 divided by 4 is 0.6. And we have opposite signs, negative and a positive, so this will be a negative. Letter C, that's positive 6 times a negative 3. 6 times 3 is 18. And we have opposite signs, a positive and a negative, so we get a negative answer. And lastly, for D, we have a negative times a negative, same signs, so we should get a positive answer. So this is really 1/2 times 1/2, which is 1/4. Alright. So those are our basic multiplying and dividing rules. I think these are easier than the adding and subtracting. But what we're going to do is combine all of these very soon. So we want to make sure we get these down. Thanks.